Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, let's go over what in the hell happened today. Wild day today. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. The link is below where I share my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, etc. on Tesla, Flow, etc. A lot of posts today, especially on Flow. But yeah, let's jump right into it. If you enjoy, again, don't forget to hit that like button now. Link is down below, by the way, for my membership section. $2.99 a month. Anyway, let's just jump into my minds all over the place. But Tesla closing the day down, unfortunately, but compared to the market, it's fine. 2.2%, 2.2% we'll say, which compared to the market, not bad, honestly. A little bit better than I expected overall. I mean, hanging in there on such a pretty brutal market sell-off day, and on top of that also a day where obviously we had CPI. That's pretty much the main reason the market's selling off. That came in hotter than expected, which isn't good for stocks like Tesla, interest rate sensitive stocks, essentially really true growth stocks, especially Tesla, considering it's in the automotive section, which is also even more further directly affected by interest rates, because I mean, people lease their cars, right? What do you lease your car on? Well, interest rates. Overall, not bad. So let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be this. There's two things here on the 4-hour chart. This is the 4-hour chart. We have the inverted head and shoulders pattern. We've been talking about that for a few days now. And, here it is playing out. I talked about how there's a real chance that we come down to somewhere around the 182-ish level. And that's exactly where we went to. We bounced off pretty much almost exactly 182. I think the lowest we went to was about 182.11. Now, granted, I want to make it clear, there is still a possibility we do a bit more, or we have a bit more pain tomorrow. And overall, Tesla technically is still bearish. However, we are still setting up some nice potential bullish situations here that can play out quite bullishly. One of which, of course, being this inverted head and shoulders pattern. It can go to as low as about $180 per share and still be valid, because that's where the left shoulder went. So just keep that in mind. We have this potential pattern setting up, and I'll go more into that and why we potentially may go a little bit lower potentially very soon. On top of that, on the 4-hour chart, what I want to talk about is, of course, we have a doji candle here, followed by a beautiful looking hammer candle on the 4-hour chart, which is nice to see. So that's a beautiful looking candle. We'll see if that actually has some fall through tomorrow, but a pretty nice looking candle. Potential bottom signals over here on the 4-hour chart. Of course, we need confirmation. Nothing's guaranteed, but not too bad. The MACD is still bullish, right? It flipped bullish all well back here, and it's still holding bullish even after the sell-off today. The daily chart, similar concept, still looking bullish. Still, I mean, it's obviously chilling a little bit here, right? But still flip bullish. RSI, chance to cool off a little bit here. Pretty ridiculous, nice looking doji candle over here. So hopefully we see some reversal situations happening off of that, because you literally can't even see where the actual candle itself is, because it's just pretty much closed at exactly where it opened, which is nice to see as well. So potential reversal signals here. Obviously, as usual, we need follow through. But the thing that is to be careful about is this. For the bearish side, if you're someone that's bearish on Tesla and you want Tesla to fall, the thing you really want to happen is, first of all, you absolutely want Tesla to lose 180. Not only do you want Tesla to lose 180, you want it to start closing longer time frame candles below 180. So let's say maybe the 4-hour chart, the daily especially, if it ever closes below 180, not too good. And if that were to happen, that means we're probably coming back down to test this channel at the very least one more time, which can easily bring Tesla back down to the very, very low $170 once again. That is a possibility. I personally don't see it happening, but it is absolutely a possibility. And if you completely ignore that and just forget about it and say like, oh, there's no chance for that to happen at all, you're delusional. There's absolutely a chance for that to happen. I just personally don't think it will, but I am always prepared for it just in case, in the sense that, more buying power, right? I haven't bought yet the dip. I do have cash secured puts. My first one is at 182.5, and I have another one for next week at 177.5. So essentially, those are my buy orders with cash secured puts. I'm essentially getting paid to buy them there, and I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to buy here too fast, right? I have shares, of course, already, and I'm just kind of waiting. If it comes down there and I'm buying at those prices, fantastic. Worst case, I'll still calls against them right away, and I'm already hedged, good to go, and I'm collecting premium. Tesla is just kind of zigzagging sideways, pretty much between this 194-ish area to this 180-ish area, we'll say, not doing a whole lot. That's perfectly fine with me. So that's the way I look at that. Now, the thing I want to bring attention to one more time is going to be what I talked about before. how we're bottoming and potentially creating bottoming signals very similarly to how we did all the way over here back in the October lows, where we also had a massive crash with the gap down, came low, had a bit of a bounce, came low, had a bit of a bounce, then we went even lower here, then we bounced off of that, then we went sideways a bit, then we crashed even further on a pretty substantial red candle, then we crashed even further on a pretty substantial red day. Obviously, we recovered, thankfully, towards the end of the day, but nonetheless, we continued going down. Now, what I want to see is some follow through similar to how we saw follow through over here on these two green or white candles, pretty much starting tomorrow. So we'll see if that actually holds true or not, because if it does, then we're really just roughly replicating this pattern. And again, these stocks do move in patterns. That's how they move. They move in patterns. It is what it is, right? History often rhymes, but it's never replicated, or whatever the saying is in the market. Pretty much the situation that we see ourselves in right here, right now. So keep that in mind, right? It's important to understand. But again, I do want to see how that plays out. Now, the next thing I want to talk about very quickly is going to be this yellow line right here, the 21 EMA. There's good news and bad news. The good news is the fact that, well, it's pretty much approaching this 194, 195-ish level, and it's going to continue moving downwards to us as long as we're below it. Obviously, that's just how it works. It comes back to us, whether we're below it or above it, right? Cool. The good thing is the fact that now that it's pretty much coinciding with that very important 194, 195-ish level, if we do break above that level, let's say, I don't know, by Friday, just as an example, of course, right? But let's say we do break it by Friday and we close above 194/5 by Friday. We're closing above just that very important resistance level to also create a higher high to essentially remove this downtrend. But we're also going to be closing above the 21 EMA on the daily, which is a bullish sign. And then we essentially it'll essentially make it even more bullish closing above said level. So that's good to see. The bad thing about this, however, is the fact that it'll be that much more difficult to now close above 194/5. So it'll be a lot more difficult now because now we have the 21 EMA as a resistance. But again, if we do manage to do so, very bullish, at least in my opinion. And I think the trend will really, truly start to reverse, potentially even quite fiercely. So we'll see. Time will tell, of course. I'm feeling pretty optimistic here, but again, not to the point where I'm just all in right here, right now. I bought everything right here, right now with Tesla, and I'm good to go to the upside. No, absolutely not. I'm ready to buy if we go lower, but just keep that in mind, right? So that's the main thing I'm personally looking at right now. And those are the main things I am personally eyeballing overall. Still think that Tesla looks like it has potential. The market had a very interesting buy the dip, almost, if you will, situation in the last 30-ish minutes of the market. Like the market was selling off substantially. So I'll talk about the overall market as well, which is interesting. But the market, the last time I truly took a look at it, we were sitting at 425 on QQQ. And then within the last half an hour, beautiful buy the dip situation happened on Tesla as well. You can see, right, QQQ, SPY, the whole market just buy the dip, and the whole market pumped in the last half hour-ish of the market, which is very interesting to see. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's important to note. But the reason I bring this up is because, well, QQQ and SPY, obviously, essentially very important things in the market that kind of indicate how the market overall, the health and the perception of the market is. They fell down right to pretty important potential bounce spot territories. For instance, QQQ, this red line that we have been pretty much in and bouncing off so far, we came back to it once again. And every single time we've come to it, we've bounced successfully and continued going even higher. Now, will that happen this time again? Who knows? But technically, so far, it is a possibility. So that's number one. And number two, it's also right at the 21 EMA, right? So that's also really good to see. And the candle, the fact that we had that pump towards the last half hour of the day, really saved this candle. This candle on the QQQ at least could have been really atrocious. They could have been a very ugly looking candle, but now it's not that bad. So, there is still some signs of hope here for the bulls. Obviously, if we break below this red line and the 21 EMA, well, that's a different story. SPY, very similar concept. Same with the red line, holding it, bouncing off of it so far so well. And same idea. We have the 21 EMA right below it, and we bounced off of it as well, setting potentially a looking hammer candle. Not the best looking hammer candle in the world, but maybe a little bit, some signs of it. But also just off a very important level, the bottom of the channel, or rising wedge, if you will. And the 21 EMA right under. So the market bounced at pretty much the exact spot, in my opinion at least, it needed to bounce to potentially still continue an uptrend, as crazy as that may sound. So we'll see how that actually plays out. We'll see how it plays out if it actually comes to fruition. If today was just a scare tactic, if the market was just simply overreacting, like Apple bouncing off the 200-day moving average, right? A lot of important bounce spots found today in the market where it needed to. Tesla pretty much bouncing right at roughly that, right shoulder situation that we've been talking about for quite some time. I don't know. Again, if there was, a place to roughly hold so far across the market, including Tesla, this was it. And so far, so good. So we'll see how this plays out. But ultimately, that's kind of what I see right now. Options flow was all over the place for Tesla. There's been some very interesting things. So it was very, very bullish for, in the mornings. Then it got a little bit bearish, but then it turned very bullish over here. And people were betting a lot of bets on pretty much this Friday's expiration on calls, even some above the ask, like, 150K here, 120K here, right? You have a 1.3 million here, but it's a 200 call, but it's like for March 17th, pretty good to see there. You have a 390 call, but it's like pretty much almost like 2 years out. So, but it's quite a leap, but nonetheless, still good. But nothing to write home about, in my opinion. But nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that the market was very, very bullish here, and there were a lot of people betting on some pretty substantial bets with some decent money. I mean, if you have $100,000 to just spend on a weekly, that's, to me, you're a whale. On weeklies, on Tesla calls, which is interesting. Then obviously we had a substantial amount of bearish flow come in. This was pretty much when the whole market was just tanking, including Tesla. We went down to like 182 almost exactly, right? This was what it was right here. There was one unusual opening here, highly unusual. There was a 1 million block order, so it might be an institution. 140 put coming in for March 22nd. It is a 140 put, so it was only 60 cents a contract. And maybe they already exited. Who knows, right? No one knows the true intentions behind them. No, we don't know if they're still in this trade or not. We don't know. That's the thing. But nonetheless, very, very cheap contract, 60 cents per contract. But they bought 17,000 of it. So it's it's kind of interesting, right? So we'll see how that plays out, or in other words, $60 per actual contract. I'm at 60 cents per like individual, but you know what I mean. Anyway, but so that was highly unusual. So I don't know. Again, maybe they're still in this trade. Maybe they're not. Maybe they exited off of that drop. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly. Of course, we don't know the full details behind it. We just see what we see here, and we have to interpret it, whichever way we think it's meant to be interpreted. But nonetheless, definitely some bearish flow here. And then at the end, we got a little bit of bullish flow, but nothing crazy. And we'll see how tomorrow opens up. But like I said, the main thing I'll be looking at tomorrow is, do we hold this inverted head and shoulders, potentially a little bit more pain, but not too much more? And do we follow through the same way that we did here? Because again, in my opinion, we're still just following this pattern. And interestingly enough, this pattern over here also played out an inverted head and shoulders. We had a left shoulder here, we had a head right here, and then we set up the right shoulder over here. It's playing out almost identically to it. Almost exactly. And we literally just yesterday talked about how potentially we have this massive red candle next, and that's exactly what happened today. Roughly, of course, right? Not literally to the T, but the point is it's close enough. Let's just say that. So we'll see. We'll see. I think tomorrow will be pretty important to see how the market continues to digest and reacts to this overall news, and see if we can get this kind of follow through moving forward. And this right here will be the movement pretty much right at this 200 level. And then I think from here, this movement, again, assuming if we follow this rough overall bounce, this movement to the top side here will pretty much be moving up to somewhere around that 220s to the potentially 230s level, which, like I said many, many times, is where the 200-day moving average is on the daily, which of course is about 230. And the weekly, the 200 moving average, like I said many times, is pretty much right around 220, with the 21 EMA as well also being around 220 as well, which is a possibility for us to come up to and test as well. So that's pretty much the way I'm looking at it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, of course, as per usual, don't forget to hit that like button, as it does help a lot. This is not financial advice, so take it as you will. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for what might be another pretty damn interesting day. We'll see. Thanks for watching.